Great piece, great piece, great piece, Yakoki. So BBC Africa, they just did a special on Sudan, and they talked about how everybody's ignoring the war in Sudan because of the color, right? You know, where you see throughout the world, Arabs are being attacked, and you have Arabs in Sudan, the whole of Sudan, north and south, right? West and east. North Sudan is attacking them. And the North Sudanese, right, they're Arabs. So you see proxy wars. You see Arabs trying to defend a base they just acquired in Sudan. And then you see Arabs being attacked throughout the world, right? Their fellow alliances. So it's kind of like this, right? If you have a friend, right, you grew up in the projects, right? And he did something to you, right? And you know, you didn't forgive him. There's regret there, right? You didn't forgive him. So what you see is that an older person comes along and says, "Here, he told me to give this to you." You know, now you have something of luck. Now you have something of garment, right? And you see this happen, right? You see this happen. This is what's happening essentially with the Sudanese. You see the entire world, they've pretty much progressed. And you see the Sudanese, they've pretty much been hamstrung. They're in a situation where they're trying to push their economy forward, and they're trying to invite an economy that will be welcoming to all Pan-Africanists. And like, how do you do that, right? If, you still have tribes who are, you still have tribes that are basically, aligning with the idea that they are not giving up their form of living, their way of living. They don't want to be modern, they still want to be in the old ages, right? So how do you go about doing that? And I think people need to be given the right accumulation of, if you want to live dogmatically, right, you should have that right. If you want to live in a village area, or you want to live in a rural side, like, you should be given that right? I think that's how all people should be living, especially in America. Like, you should be living off the land. You shouldn't be thinking about, well, I'm going to go to high school, then I'm going to go to college. Then after I go to college, I'm going to get a high paying job. That, to me, that's really the wrong way to live. That's really the outdated way of living in the modern sense. It just proven it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, that's how I see the world, right? That's how I see the world. I think, like, you have people who are, looking out for the other people, right? The people who are less fortunate. I don't really think South Sudan is so much less fortunate, right? They have everything going for them. I don't think that's so much less fortunate. That people are smart, that people are very peaceful, that people are, very advanced as far as their own economy. Again, like, in the modern sense, right? They have everything you need, right? They have a currency. They have age-old tales, right? So they know who they are. They all keep their bloodline pure. So that you can't cause discrepancy there, right? You have to let them be. And I'm very excited about what they have to offer to the world. The Sudanese, they've been hidden too long. A lot of tribes have been hidden too long. A lot of nations have been hidden too long. the world needs to know, They needs to know. Great peace, Yakoki.